Cold open. You are lying on the asphalt. You can't feel your left arm. The engine is still running somewhere behind you, but you can't see the bike anymore. You can see the sky. It's a Tuesday afternoon in October, and the sky is the kind of blue that has no business being that beautiful on a day like this. Someone is running toward you. You can hear them, but they sound far away, like they're calling to you from the other side of something. You try to move. You don't move. You lie on the asphalt, and you look at the sky, and you think about the first time you ever sat on a motorcycle. Level 1. The first time. You are 19 years old, and your friend Marcus has a 2009 Kawasaki Ninja 650 that he has been trying to get you to ride for 6 months. You have said no every time. Not because you're afraid. Because you know yourself well enough to know that some things you should not start. Then one Saturday morning in April, he rolls it out of his garage and hands you the helmet without asking and says, "Just sit on it," and you sit on it. That's all it takes. Just sitting on it. The weight of it between your legs, the way it feels alive even standing still, the handlebar grips worn smooth from use, the smell of hot metal and oil, and something you don't have a word for yet. Marcus shows you the controls. Clutch, throttle, front brake, rear brake, gear shifter. You listen the way you have never listened to anyone explain anything. He walks beside you while you ride it slowly up and down the empty street in front of his house. First gear, 20 miles per hour. It is not fast. It is the most alive you have ever felt. You ride up and down that street for 2 hours. You go home and you sit in your apartment and you already know. You already know that you are going to buy one. You already know it is going to change things. You buy one anyway. Level 2. The student. You take the motorcycle safety course because Marcus tells you to, and Marcus has been riding for 4 years and has the kind of calm authority that comes from surviving things that could have gone differently. The course is 2 days in a parking lot on small training bikes that feel like toys compared to what you want. But you pay attention. You learn things that will save your life later without you ever knowing they saved it. You learn target fixation, the phenomenon where your eyes lock onto something you want to avoid and your body steers you toward it anyway. You learn that in a panic situation, you go where you look. So you learn to look where you want to go. You learn counter-steering, the counterintuitive physics of a two-wheeled vehicle that means to turn right at speed, you push forward on the right handlebar, not the left. Your brain resists this. Your brain thinks it's wrong. You practice it until it becomes instinct. You learn threshold braking, how to stop as fast as possible without locking the front wheel, how locking the front wheel at speed is almost certainly fatal. You pass the course. You get your license. You buy a 2015 Honda CB 500F with 8,000 miles from a guy who says he bought it for commuting and never really took to it. You can tell from looking at it that he never really took to it. You take to it immediately. You ride every day. Morning rides before work when the roads are empty and the air is cold and the world belongs to nobody except the people who got up early enough to claim it. Evening rides after work when the tension of the day dissolves somewhere around the 3rd mile and you arrive home lighter than you left. You are not commuting. You are medicating. You don't know that yet. Level 3. The addiction. You are 21 and you have put 14,000 miles on the CB 500F in 11 months. That is not a commuting number. That is a person who cannot stop riding number. You ride in rain that you should not ride in. You ride on roads that are not entirely clear. You upgrade. The CB 500F was perfect for learning and completely insufficient for what you need now. You buy a 2018 Yamaha MT-09, 847cc, 3 cylinders, 115 horsepower, in a package that weighs 414 pounds. The first time you open the throttle on the MT 9 inches, a way that the CB 500F never allowed you to open a throttle, you make a sound that is not entirely voluntary. A sound of pure shock and delight that comes out of you before your brain approves it. This bike is not transportation. This bike is a weapon that someone decided to make street legal. You love it in the way that is not entirely healthy. You think about it when you're not riding it. You check the weather forecast not for your own comfort but for riding conditions. You cancel plans that conflict with riding. You spend money on gear that you justify as safety equipment, and it is safety equipment, but you also just want to look like what you are becoming. You are becoming a rider, not someone who owns a motorcycle. A rider. There is a difference. And everyone in this world can tell which one you are within 30 seconds of meeting you. Level 4. The Brotherhood. You find them through a mutual friend of Marcus. A group of 8 riders who meet on Sunday mornings at a gas station on the edge of the city and ride together through back roads for 3 or 4 hours before stopping somewhere for breakfast and talking about the ride for another 2 hours. You show up the first Sunday not knowing anyone except Marcus. By the end of breakfast, you know everyone, not their jobs, not their backgrounds, not their politics or their problems. You know how they ride. You know who is smooth and who is aggressive, who takes corners early and who waits, who you want in front of you and who you want behind you, and why. This is its own language, and you speak it already. The group becomes the best part of your week, not because of the riding, because of what happens between the riding. There is a woman named Sarah who rides a BMW R1250 GS and has more miles than everyone else combined and speaks in the measured, quiet way of someone who has seen things that change their relationship with speed. There is a man named Ray who is 53 years old and has been riding since before you were born and has opinions about everything and is wrong about half of them and right about the other half in ways that only become clear later. There is a kid named Theo who is 22 and just got his license and looks at all of you the way you looked at Marcus 4 years ago. You see yourself in Theo. You try to tell him the things Marcus told you. You hope he listens better than you did. Level 5. The first crash. It happens on a Wednesday evening in June. You are not doing anything wrong. That is the part that stays with you. You are not speeding. You are not showing off. You are riding home from work on a route you have ridden 200 times. A car turns left across your lane from a side street. The driver doesn't see you. You have 1.2 seconds from the moment you register what is happening to the moment of impact. 1.2 seconds is not enough time to stop. It is barely enough time to brake hard and try to steer around the back of the car. You don't make it around the back of the car. You hit the rear quarter panel at 28 miles per hour. You go over the handlebars. You slide across the asphalt for 11 feet. Your jacket saves your arms. Your helmet saves your head. Your gloves save your hands. You lie on the road and you take inventory of yourself the way the safety course instructor told you to. Head, neck, spine, arms, legs, everything is present. Your left shoulder is wrong, not broken, separated. You will learn this at the hospital. Your MT-09 is not rideable. The driver gets out of her car and she is shaking and she keeps saying, "I didn't see you, I didn't see you," and you believe her. And that is the worst part. She wasn't malicious. She just didn't see you. You were invisible to her. You lie on the road and you think about all the times you have been invisible to drivers who didn't see you, and all the times nothing happened because the timing was slightly different. You think about how many times you almost had this conversation with the asphalt. The ambulance comes. You go to the hospital. You call Marcus from the emergency room. He doesn't say, "I told you so." He just says, "I'm coming." That's what brotherhood looks like. Level 6. The return. Your shoulder takes 8 weeks to heal. 8 weeks without riding. People who don't ride think 8 weeks is nothing. 8 weeks is an eternity. You sit at home and you watch videos of other people riding, and it helps and it doesn't help. You think about quitting. Not seriously, not with conviction, but the thought visits you the way uncomfortable thoughts visit during recovery. What if this is the sign? What if this is the one that was supposed to make you stop? You talk to Sarah about it on a phone call 2 weeks after the crash. She listens without interrupting. Then she says something you will remember for a long time. She says, Every rider has a crash story. The crash doesn't mean stop. The crash means pay attention. There's a difference. End quote. You think about that for a long time. You go back to the safety course. Not because you have to, because you want to. You practice the things you already knew until they are deeper in your body than they were before. You pick up the MT-09 from the shop on a Thursday afternoon. They did a good job. It looks right. You sit on it in the parking lot of the shop. You don't start it immediately. You just sit with it. Then you start it. Then you ride home. It takes 3 rides before the tension leaves your shoulders completely. By the 5th ride, you are back. Not back to before the crash. Better than before the crash. The crash taught you something the safety course couldn't. It taught you that the consequences are real. That knowledge makes you a better rider. It also makes you a more honest one. Level 7. The long ride. You are 24, and you do something you have been planning for 2 years. You ride across the country alone. Not a weekend trip, not a group tour. Alone, 18 days, 4,000 miles. People think this is either the most romantic thing they've ever heard or the most reckless. It is both. Day 1, you are excited in a way that makes it hard to sleep the night before. Day 3, you are in the rhythm, miles disappearing beneath you, the world passing at a pace that is fast enough to cover ground and slow enough to see it. On a motorcycle, you are inside the landscape instead of watching it through glass. You smell the rain before it arrives. You feel the temperature change as you drop into a valley. You taste the salt air before you see the ocean. No car gives you this. No other vehicle gives you this. Day 7, you ride through a desert at dawn, and the road is perfectly straight for 40 miles in every direction, and the sun is coming up on your left, and the sky is doing something with color that you have no language for, and you are completely alone in all of it. You are completely alone, and you are not lonely. That distinction matters. You had never understood the difference before this moment. Day 12, it rains for 9 hours. You ride through all 9 hours because stopping means being wet and cold in a place you don't know. Moving is better. Moving is always better. Day 18, you arrive back. You park the bike in front of your apartment and you sit on it for a while before going inside. You are different than when you left. Not dramatically, just slightly more settled. Like something that was slightly out of alignment got corrected somewhere between here and the desert at dawn. Level 8, the loss. His name is Theo, the kid from the group, the one who looked at all of you the way you once looked at Marcus. He is 24 years old. He dies on a Sunday morning in August, on a road that all of you have ridden dozens of times. A wet patch in the shadow of a bridge on a morning that seemed dry. He goes down at speed and hits the barrier. He was wearing good gear. It wasn't enough. You hear about it from Ray, who calls you at 7 a.m. and can barely get the words out. You sit in your kitchen for a long time. You think about every Sunday morning breakfast, about Theo's laugh, which was too loud for indoor spaces and perfect for parking lots. About the way he listened when the older riders spoke as if he was memorizing everything in case he needed it later. He needed it. He had it. It still wasn't enough. The group falls apart for a while after Theo. Not completely. But the Sunday rides stop for 2 months. When they start again, there are only 5 of you. Sarah, Ray, Marcus, you. A new rider named James who doesn't know what the group was before. You are glad James doesn't know. It means you don't have to explain it. You ride differently after Theo. Not more carefully exactly. More honestly. You stop pretending the risk is manageable. You stop telling yourself the story that skill is enough. Skill is necessary. Skill is not sufficient. Theo had skill. You ride with that knowledge now. Every single time. Level 9, the reckoning. You are 26. You sit down and you count. Not the miles. The miles, you know. The cost. In 7 years, you have owned 4 motorcycles. You have spent $31,000 on bikes, $8,400 on gear, $4,200 on maintenance and repairs not covered by insurance, $6,800 on the crash, deductible, medical bills, physical therapy, the parts that insurance didn't cover, $2,100 on the cross-country trip, $52,500 total. You make $54,000 a year. You have $6,800 in savings. You have a shoulder that predicts rain more accurately than any weather app. You have a scar on your left forearm that the jacket didn't fully cover. You have lost one person from this world, and you carry that with a weight that doesn't distribute evenly no matter how you arrange it. You also have something else. Something that doesn't have a number. You have 47,000 miles of road. You have a desert at dawn. You have 8 years of Sunday mornings that were better than any other morning of the week. You have Sarah's voice on the phone saying, the crash doesn't mean stop, it means pay attention. You have Marcus saying, I'm coming from the emergency room. You have Theo's laugh in a parking lot on a Sunday morning in a world where he was still here. You sit with all of it, both sides of it. You don't know what to do with both sides of it. That might be the most honest thing you've ever admitted. Level 10. The understanding. You are 29. You still ride. Not everyone does after what you've been through. Some riders lose someone, and the weight of it grounds them permanently. You understand those riders. You are not one of them. You ride differently now than you did at 19. Not slower necessarily, more deliberate. Every ride now is a choice that you make consciously instead of a compulsion you follow automatically. You put on your gear, and before you start the bike, you spend a moment that nobody else sees, where you acknowledge what you're doing and why and what it costs. Then you ride. You have tried to explain this to people who don't ride. You have given up trying to explain it to people who don't ride. There is no explanation that works from the outside. From the inside, it is completely clear. The world is a different place from the seat of a motorcycle. Not better than a car. Not safer than a car. Not smarter than a car. Just different, more present, more honest about its terms. A motorcycle does not protect you from the world. It puts you in it. That is either the most terrifying thing you've ever heard, or it's the only place you've ever felt completely awake. There is no middle position. You learned that on a Saturday morning in April when you were 19 years old and Marcus handed you a helmet without asking, and you sat on a bike that was not yours, and the world shifted slightly on its axis. You have been trying to get back to that moment ever since. Not the innocence of it, the aliveness of it. Some mornings you find it. Those mornings are worth everything. Even the asphalt. Even the shoulder. Even Theo. You would not say that to his mother. But in the quiet of an early morning on an empty road, with the throttle open and the world reduced to what is directly in front of you and nothing else, in that moment, yes, even Theo. Because the alternative is to never have known any of it. And you cannot imagine that. You cannot imagine the version of your life where Marcus never handed you the helmet. That life is safer. You are certain of that. You are also certain it is not your life. Somewhere right now, a 19-year-old is sitting on a motorcycle for the first time. It isn't even their motorcycle. They are not moving. They are just sitting on it. And something is already changing. They have no idea what they just started. They'll find out. They always do.